Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Blue version. Today's goal is to head up north to Viridian Forest and to get Pewter City. So, first thing, just as a reminder, if you haven't done so already, you might want to pick up some antidotes and maybe some extra Pokeballs at the mart with the money we got from our rival. Once again, primarily in red version, due to some of the encounters we will be coming across. So as we head north, we will be going to our first kind of mini dungeon. We are now on Route 2. On Route 2, there are some new encounters for red and blue version. It's not really a big deal if you come across them in this small patch of grass. There is another patch of grass at the end of the dungeon for Route 2, but each of our new encounters we can come across in Viridian Forest. So Viridian Forest is the home of some flying types and mainly the bug type. So as we explore Viridian Forest, we will be able to come across these new Pokemon and find some items. So as you saw, as we entered in Viridian Forest, I came across a hidden antidote, which is an extra one for possible encounters with poison type Pokemon. We can also run into different trainers, so we're gonna have Pokeballs to catch Pokemon with. You should carry extras. For this game, that is actually some useful advice. Now we're getting into a trainer battle. Hey, you have Pokemon. Come on, let's battle. So it's a common trope of the Pokemon franchise. When two trainers' eyes meet, they must battle. So we come across bug catchers, and depending on your game, some of these encounters may have different Pokemon. This is Weedle. Weedle is a bug poison type. Weedle has two evolutions. The first being Kakuna at level 7, so this person's Weedle is close to evolving. The other being Beedrill at level 10. So, in this forest, we can actually meet Weedle if you're in Pokemon Blue or Red version. Weedle is the reason I suggest to bring antidotes because of the move Poison Sting. Poison Sting can poison your Pokemon, and it is a lingering status effect that will last outside of battle and slowly damage your Pokemon as you walk or if you're in battle after each turn. And with this being an early game, poison can actually knock out your Pokemon, so this is why I suggest bringing antidotes, because you can cure that poison and continue on without having to turn back. Now we meet Weedle's counterpart, Caterpie. Caterpie is a pure bug type and is a lot more harmless compared to Weedle due to the absence of the poison typing. Caterpie and Weedle are not that strong a Pokemon, and that's kind of a common case with these bug types. They're available early on. They can actually give you some pretty good advantage in the early game since you can reach their final stage fairly quickly, but in later game, they're not as useful. Just like Weedle, Caterpie evolves at level 7 into Metapod and level 10 into Butterfree. Butterfree being a bug flying type. Ooh, Kaiser grew to level 8 and learned Horn Attack. No, Caterpie can't cut it. No, it's not that unusual. Alright, when looking at the stats of Weedle and Kakuna, ooh, another battle. Weedle and Caterpie. Caterpie has more HP compared to Weedle, and is more physically defensive, whereas Weedle is more physically offensive. And this will carry on kind of through to their final stages, testing out our new horn attack. Both Metapod and Kakuna are very defensive, and Beedrill is fairly offensive with a fairly high attack stat of 80. Comparing that to my Blastoise, whose final attack stat is 83. So, pretty powerful, but defense-wise, it's lacking. With a 40 physical defense and 45 special, it can't take many hits. Butterfree, on the other hand, is actually fairly speedy along with Beedrill and has a high special of 80, which actually is very beneficial since special counts for both special attack and special defense. But once again, its defenses are fairly low, and that's where its weak point is going to be. As you see here, Kakuna used Harden, a defense-raising move. You will probably want to take out Kakuna and Metapod both quickly because of this move. It makes them harder to knock out. And we can run across wild Weedles, Caterpies, and Kakunas and Metapods in this forest in red and blue version. In red, you're more likely to run into Weedles and Kakunas, where in blue version, you're more likely to run into Caterpies and Metapods. In yellow version, you will only be running into Caterpies and Metapods, along with Pidgey, and you can also run into Pidgey in blue and red. Actually, no, you cannot. So, in yellow, you can run into Pidgey, and in a very, very rare case, a 1% chance, you can run into wild Pidgeottos, Pidgey's evolved form. In red and blue, instead of Pidgey and Pidgeotto, your rare encounter is Pikachu at a 5% chance. So if we run into a Pikachu, we will actually be very lucky, but the likelihood probably will not happen while we're walking around. If you want to use a Butterfree or a Beedrill, it is highly recommended to catch a Caterpie or a Weedle, respectively, so that you can get past the Metapod and Kakuna stage a lot faster due to them only knowing Harden if they're caught in the wild. And we picked up a potion. Okay, I know there's a hidden item coming up soon, which is going to be right in front of this trainer. So if you click A to the left of him, you get a potion. I'm very surprised we haven't run into any encounters. Alright. So this trainer is actually known for kind of a glitch. If you get in a battle on the tile in front of him, when he sees you, it can cause your game to air out and you can get an interesting encounter. I believe it is actually can let you run into a level 100 Nidoking, the final evolved form of Nidoran male, and it's actually recommended for speed running. Alright, so we're almost through this area, which took a lot less time than I thought, mainly because I did not get any wild encounters while walking through. And we're getting Kaiser up. Are we gonna make it? Oh, we didn't make it. Not any encounters. Okay, Kakuna. So this is actually a very low chance of me running into this, with blue version being a 5% chance, the same as Pikachu. I'm going to weaken it and probably just catch it to add it to my dex. Oh, almost knocked it out. That way I can get my dex numbers up, and hopefully that will help me later on when I have to get certain items. Ooh, broke out. So you're not guaranteed to catch a Pokemon when you throw a Pokeball. There's a complex calculation depending on the health of your opponent and with the type of Pokeball you are using. Alright, Kakuna was caught. Kakuna, the Cocoon Pokemon, shocker there. Almost incapable of moving, this Pokemon can only harden its shells to protect itself from predators. Do we want to give it a nickname? No, I want to avoid using Pokemon of the same typing. Let's see if we can run into some of our other encounters, and maybe if we get lucky, a Pikachu. Usually my encounters here are not this sparse. I remember running into a lot more encounters. This seems kind of funny. Alright, any day now. Game. Come on. Alright. Apparently it doesn't want me to get encounters. I'll walk down to this guy. Okay. Give us something new. Caterpie. That works. And if we need to, quick evolution, so makes a decent way to get more dex entries. And we knocked it out in one shot with a critical hit. Awesome. Alright, well, I guess that just means let's head to Pewter City. Okay. So here we're back on Route 2. Later on, we can actually get past this tree and get to this cave to the side, but that'll be a while, and we can access other parts of Route 2. If we come to this patch of grass, this is just like the other side. We have another chance at a Caterpie, and then there are just Rattatas and Pidgeys available. Or, in the case of yellow versions, Rattata, Pidgey, and both Nidorangs. So talking more about Viridian Forest, the main difference in trainer battles is that the first bug catcher, basically, the Weedles get replaced with Caterpies, and Metapod gets replaced with Kakuna for the different bug catchers. But in yellow, there's a few more trainers, and there's a lass who has both Nidorangs. I forgot to catch that. Kept busy talking. Rattata. So, we're kind of ahead of schedule in what I had planned. So, I think we might actually take on the gym today. Alright, we are in Pewter City. Pewter City is the town of our first gym badge. You know what I'm doing? No. Spraying Repel to keep the Pokemon out of my garden. So this guy mentions Repel. Repel is going to be possibly a useful item to help prevent you from running into opponent's Pokemon. Did you check out the museum? No? Really? You absolutely have to go. Oh, well, we're on our way. It's right here. You have to pay to get in, but it's worth it. See you around. Let's check out this museum, just for fun. Walk in. $50 for a child's ticket. We can pay our $50. We can go look. Some fossils. Ooh. Aerodactyl fossil, a primitive and rare Pokemon. That is one magnificent fossil. Let's check out this fossil down here. That's a pretty cool one too. Kabutops fossil, a primitive and rare Pokemon. Very useful descriptions. We have a space exhibit now. Meteorites that fell on Mount Moon. Moonstone? Moonstone? What's so special about it? July 20th, 1969. The first lunar landing. I bought a color TV to watch it. Space shuttle. I want a Pikachu. It's so cute. I asked my daddy to catch me one. Yeah, a Pikachu soon, I promise. Alright, there's our museum. Fairly simple. We can exit. See, there's a side building here, but unfortunately we are unable to get it due to this little tree. And sadly, there are no other hidden items here. If we check around here, just empty space. Not too much. It's rumored that Keferi came from the moon. They appear after the moonstone fell on Mount Moon. Okay. So, let's head to the Pokemon Center to heal up. And let's head to the gym. Ooh, there's a Pokemon here. Okay, who's this? Jigglypuff. So that actually kind of gives us a hint to a future encounter. Okay, I think it's in Pokemon Yellow. Like that Jigglypuff makes Pikachu tired. Alright, let's deposit the Kakuna. We don't only need them on our team. I have deposited our other encounters that I have caught, so I'm just keeping them in the boxes. I don't really want to use them. Okay, our first gym. The first big challenge of this playthrough. Granted, with Squirtle, should be a fairly quick breeze. Hiya! I can tell you have what it takes to become a Pokemon champ. I'm no trainer, but I can tell you how to win. Let me take you to the top. Okay. Alright, let's get happening. The first Pokemon I'll match is at the top of the Pokemon list. By changing the order of Pokemon, matches could be made easier. So, this tells us, hey, if you haven't done so already, you may want to reorganize your Pokemon. So, Genbu might be better suited, so I may put him in front. I may want to keep Kaiser out front. So I'm actually going to keep Kaiser out front for this first battle. It should be fairly simple. So, there are only two opponents in this gym. The first being a junior trainer. The junior trainer first sends out Diglett, level 11. And Yellow, it's only level 9. Diglett is a pure ground type. And is actually fairly fast. We will not be encountering Diglett for a while, so this kind of gives us an early sneak peek at him. Like Diglett's primary stat is speed, with its second highest stat being attack. Oh, Kaiser goes to level 12. Next, he sends out Sandshrew. I'm going to switch on this. That way I can kind of keep Kaiser and Genbu at the same levels. So, Sandshrew is also a ground type. Let me find him in my list. Super effective. So water is a good offensive type here. Same thing with grass. Charmander is at a disadvantage here due to rock and ground moves being super effective on fire. Tough time. Fire Sentry. Well, this battle's already almost over, so we can continue on. Yay, Genbu grew to level 12. Light years isn't time, it's measuring distance. Okay, so up ahead is Brock. I'm going to make sure my Pokemon are at full health before we challenge him. So every gym leader specializes in one type. In Brock's case, he is the rock type gym leader and ground. Due to there not being too many rock types, he kind of double specializes. Didn't mean to say it twice. Okay, talking about Sandshrew. Sandshrew is more defensive compared to Diglett when it comes to physical defense, and is actually more offensive with a 75 attack, so that's pretty high. But luckily, due to his low defenses, you can kind of take him out quicker. Alright. I'm Brock, the Pewter City gym leader. I believe in rock hard defense and determination. That's why Pokemon are all rock types. Do you still want to challenge me? Find it. Show me your best. Also note, in Pokemon Yellow, the Sandshrew would be level 9 instead of 11. And Brock starts off with Geodude, level 12, level 10 in Yellow version. Geodude is a rock ground type and is very defensive. Geodude has an attack and a 100 stat in defense. And with Defense Curl, he can raise it up higher. If you have a Beedrill, Weedle, or Kakuna with Poison Sting, Poison can be very effective on this. It does 1/16 of the Pokemon's health per turn. So you can get a constant amount of damage on here that is not affected by defense. As you see there, we get a critical hit, and it did a lot of damage. Critical hits ignore any defense gains on the opposing Pokemon, so it can be very useful if you get that luck factor into this. Kaiser is not doing too well, but that's due to us using physical attacks on this Geodude. I'm kind of just lowering him down because we're most likely going to have to switch into Genbu, and Genbu is going to be carrying us throughout this gym. Okay, so now we have a choice. Do we attack with Kaiser, or do we swap him out to Genbu? I'm going to sacrifice Kaiser, get a little more damage, because it will let us do a safe switch into Genbu. But we got an extra hit in. Maybe we get lucky with a crit. Nope. And Geodude takes out Kaiser. Now to bring in our ace for this gym. Bubble is a special attack, taking advantage of Geodude's actually relatively low special defense of 30. Genbu got a fair amount of experience points and grew to level 13. Now, Brock sends out his strongest Pokemon, Onix, at level 14. It's kind of weird that asked me to switch. And in Pokemon Yellow, Onix is level 12. In Pokemon Yellow, these stats are lower due to you starting off with Pikachu, who is also naturally weak against ground types, and his electric type moves can't even damage them. And with a critical hit, Genbu knocks out Onix. That was a quick battle, and Genbu grows to level 14. Onix is a wall physically with 160 defense. Very few Pokemon in this game can even compete with that defense. His downfall is special defense. And we receive our first badge. And this is actually a unique case because this is the only time you get a badge during the battle screen. And so Onix is a rock ground type with an attack stat of 45, which is not that good. Let me see. I think there was a kind of a funny comparison with this. Yes, Onix has the same attack stat as a Pidgey. So Onix's main defense, strategy is just to wall you and slowly chip you down. And we receive our first TM, TM34. A TM contains a technique that can be taught to a Pokemon. A TM is good only once. So when you use one to teach a new technique, pick the Pokemon carefully. TM34 contains Bind. This is actually another strategy for Onix with its high defense. For Bind, your Pokemon will absorb damage in battle and then pay it back double. So over a couple turns, you will just take hits from your opponent, and then you will hit back for all the damage you took doubled. So this is where defensive Pokemon can very much shine, because you can take a huge amount of damage and survive, and then you hit back fairly hard. Bind is not actually that great, mainly because you have to wait so long, and if you're also very defensive, don't take as much damage. And with the first gym down, and as we see when we go to our character, we have our first gym badge. So next time on Pokemon Blue, we're going to head right, and we're going to head through Mount Moon. See you next time.